A lot of people ask about resource allocation. This is ABC Project Manager 1, and inside the ABC series of project management applications under tasks, there is an indication of what a resource allocation button might look like. Now this one here, if I press it, it will look and see how busy Albert Cruz is and all the other team members based upon the number of reservations of time that have already been made against this person. So let's click on it. We'll see what it looks like to begin with. And here we're looking at it by week. You can see by person on the left-hand side. And if you hover over something, you can see how busy they are for that particular day. And if you click on it, you actually see what the details are in case you want to give a new task to somebody else that might like Colleen is 0% busy in that particular week. So this is our target of where we're going. Now look up above. Usually what I start with is that I'll grab from this side over because this has team.quickbase. This is my realm. Yours would be acme.quickbase.com. This database identifier is actually calling on our service center. That's a hosted script that we host for you to make this happen. And the actual script is called dailyResourceLoading. And so let's copy that one first. Let's go back over to the application, and we're going to add a button right here. And I'll show you how to build it right from scratch. We'll come down, create a new field. I'll say new resource allocation. And this is a formula URL that we're going to be creating. So I'll designate it that way. And now I'm going to right click in here, edit the field properties, and I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to put quotation marks in front of it. When you're doing a formula URL, sometimes it's really good not to tell it to be a button yet. Don't tell it to be a button, and don't put any text in here because we'll be able to see what the URL actually looks like. So now when I load this and I click on that, it's going to have a difficult time trying to figure out who I am because I don't have an application token associated with that. So I'm going to go back. And by the way, your application is a unique name. When I look for our application, I've prepended the application's name with the date here so that I'll be able to find them. But my mission is to get an app token and put it on the end of this. So I'm going to go home and go into settings and go under app properties down in the bottom left hand side. Come up to manage application tokens. And you can see I already have one in here. If you don't have one in your app, which is likely, I'm going to copy that. Whoop, I'm going to just copy this one. Copy. If you don't have one, you want to create a brand new application token. It will be listed here and you can just highlight and copy it. So let's go back to tasks. We'll go back to we're just getting on the page here, and I'm going to right click on this, edit the field properties, and add this, and app token equals, and I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, so now we're ready to give it a go. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see how it's constructed here. Click. It's going to open up the wizard, which is this one right here. Remember, you have to have YourRealmName there. And now we're going to be looking for the application that's 313. Now I've got over 5,000 apps, so it takes a while for me to load these. And you can see all the apps I've got in here. Let's see, 313, where are you? 313, there we are. Now, we're looking for the table. All the tables are listed here. We want the task table, and it says, gee, couldn't get the schema, so I got to make sure that this app token has not been assigned to this application. Let me see. So let me just copy this again. Copy. PS4. So occasionally you'll come across that. Let's go back over to our app token. Maybe I grabbed the wrong thing. So I come down to app properties. I look for app token. And there it is right there. Resource allocation, copy. Let's go back to our task. We're going to append this into this so that we make sure we did this right. Let me see. Maybe I misspelled something. And app token equals. Let's see what I've done wrong. First, I'm going to back up. Do you see that space? It put a space in front of it. I'm going to back up again. Now paste it. When it did a page break, there was actually a space in there, so something to be aware of. So now let's run it again. So it's going to pop it up. It's going to scan through all my applications. I'll be looking for 317.13. It's still loading. Still loading. Click. Still loading. There we go. So we're going to scroll down one more time. All right, 3:13. There's the task table. That's what we want. There, we got in. So we're choosing a resource. Now, the assigned to person is the resource. So we're going to put that in there, and we'll have start and projected finish date, which is the start date. What is the range that you're going to be looking at? And there are a bunch of switches down below here that allow you to designate a particular percentage of resource time. But we're going to say that when we give somebody a job, they're looking at 100% of their time is going to be focused on this. If you want to, you can go deeper and then choose the resource time by duration, related project. There's a whole bunch of things here, including days of work. You can do it by time, meaning a number, or by percentage. You can designate 8-hour days, for instance. And there's a bunch of options here, but we're going to back up to here and say always at 100%. And I'm going to say display resource allocation. So it's going to generate the report. So this is what we want. So I'm going to grab this URL up above, copy it. I'm going to bring it back to the application that we're in. And let's go here. Okay. I want to right click on this, edit this, and now I'm going to put this in here. Now this one finished off right there. And in fact, you know what I'll do is I'll just go // What that does is it just means like don't pay attention to me. Now this is the one that is fully built out, and we came over to here where we said resource loading, the DB page, and you can see the app token has been inserted down at the end. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. Right at the end of this, I said and app token. Well, you can see it's been pushed down here, which is great. But there's other things that have happened. The wizard allowed us to say this is our task table and the fields we want to have and load by percentage. And so this is really where we're going with this. I need to put quotes around this and there, and then click save. And you can see it's bigger. Let's click on this. I click on that. And gee, it opened up the resource allocation, which is what I want it to do. Now I want to make this a button. Right click, edit the field properties. And I'll say new resource allocation. And I want it to display as a button. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but when I pressed the button, it actually took over the browser. So if I had closed that, I would have had to log back into the application. Open target in new window. This is desirable. That's what I'm going to click on save. All right. Now, you don't need this header up above anymore. So you could right click, edit the form elements over here and say use alternative text, which shuts it off, and watch what that does. There it's okay. We've got a button. So we're going along. We're trying to figure this out. Note I'm in a tab. I'm going to click on that. And now I see the resources for that particular piece. And it's because of this manufactured URL that we've created. Now I'm looking at all tasks. If I just said I only want to look at my tasks or my open tasks or John Smith's tasks, you could create a report and it will filter what you're actually seeing up here based upon the filter of this report. Then you can refresh it. Now I can click here and go back to the home page, but I opened in a new tab, so I can just go back to the old tab. Now here's the problem with this so far. I'm going to edit the field properties. I don't think we need this one anymore, so I'll get rid of this one. But what we need to do is to make this look like, you see how this is HTTPS? If you copied this, this would be copied over, and this is most importantly your database identifier. This one would be copied over, as well as the realm that you had here. We don't want to use it like that. We want it to look more like this. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to bring it back over here. Now I'm going to paste this in here. I don't want to use it yet. I want to see up here, up above. Notice it doesn't start with a quotation. And so I'm going to start to rebuild this. I'm going to say, actually I could just grab it, but URLRoot. And why don't we just grab it? I'm going to grab this URLRoot, and it sandwiches in, and it makes this 9KAW. This is where the script is housed, and this is the resource loading page, right? Now the database ID, you don't want to copy the database ID. You know, that one is right here. If you copied this app, you're going to be going to this one to check it out. So we need the alias, something that survives even when you copy an application. So I guess in the interest of time here, I'm going to grab this. Now notice the C list is a little different up above here. Load by percentage, right? So why don't we update a lot of this stuff here. And load by percentage units 1 per day. Control, copy. And load by percentage, the app token here. And 1 per day. Okay. And let's go back over here just to make sure. And we know this one uses this as for CList. These are the fields that are displayed. So I'm going to copy those. And that's good. We've got that. That's all right, CList. And let's see. This is, instead of the database here, I need to edit this URL to make it healthy. So sometimes it's best just to jump into the deep end of the pool. Resource loading by HTML, control copy. I'm going to wipe that out to here. Paste that in here. Okay, and db equals. And do you see the quotation mark here? Down below here, and then and. Now I know the table alias is this. So I'm going to take this over, and I'm going to take to the quotes, copy, and let's see what we've got here. There we go. So let's make sure our quotation marks are in place. We have a quote over here that starts the literal string here that's going on here. This is the actual text of the URL. It comes over here, and it says, and dbid equals. Now I have to break that and then sandwich in here the alias of the task table. I'll show you where I can get that. And then I sandwich in the quotes to start something else, which means also add an ampersand, and then CList equals this, and load by percent and app token equals, and And then this finishes the continuation of that string. So I think we're good to go, actually. Let me come down here and make sure we're commented out on the second line, which we are. Let's save it. And I didn't, so let's see what we did. We have a quote here, and that goes all the way over to here. And then we have a quote that starts here, and that takes us all the way over to here. So where is it that we have messed that up here? So we have a quote here, here, CList, and it takes us all the way over to here. So it looks like it's fine. So let's go back in. There's always a reason for this, and look at this quote here, and quote. Right after the task, it's got this thing highlighted. Why does it have it highlighted? Task and quote and task and quote and CList equals and. So we'll figure this out. Quote. There's the close quote. Notice that this is sandwiched by an ampersand on either side. And let's continue on. I'm going to get rid of the rest of that formula here. Click Save. And guess what? It looks like it worked. There was that extra information. Let's click on Resource Allocation. Could not get Resource App Token. Why is that? Has not been assigned to this app. Let's go take a look. Maybe I've misread SICH. That's the last characters, right? So maybe I've just not copied it right. So we come in here to Home. We go into Settings. We go into App Properties. These are all live things that happen to anybody as they're tweaking around. Look at this. How come this must have been from before? So let's copy this. I don't know how I missed that. We'll bring it back over to Tasks. We'll go into Resource Allocation, edit the field properties, and put this to app token in here. And paste it. And then save. And then try it. And gee, in this application, I think let's take a look at what we've got up above here. The only thing I don't think I did was and work units equals 1 per day. I don't think I did that. Let's take that out for a second. See, yeah, see, this is the way that we should have it. So I just cut and pasted, which was the root of my problem. So I'm going to edit this one more time. And I added this when I didn't really need to add this part of it. That's part of another wizard. As you work with the wizard, you'll find that some of these things will be added and some of them not. Okay, guess what? It's not the way that we'd like to see it. If you see the email address on the side, what if you wanted the person's name? Well, if you look up above, what we're looking at is 125. Whoops, let me get back into the app itself. Right here. What we want to do is to create a field. And I do have one. When I have assigned to user, This is the email address. It comes out as this when you call on this to be displayed. But there is another field I've added to this, and it says user to name, I think. I want to convert the user to name, and I'm surfacing it to you, and you'll probably want to do the same thing. Notice it's text. So all I've done is edited this. I made a little formula, and it's a formula text field. And here's the assign to field, and it's converting it to the person's name. Now, if you look up above, this is field 127, right? So what if we went back to the task? We look at the URL there, and you could see 125. What if we said 127 here? I'm going to substitute that very first field. Save. And now we run it. And notice the name over on there gets cleaned up. So as you work with this wizard, you're going to find that there are a bunch of different ways you can use it. You can create a button that looks by day. You can create another button that looks by hour. You can look at it by percentage. You can look at it by metrics. Some people have said, you know, I have a 40-hour week. Yes, but I only count 32 of those hours to be allocated to projects. So therefore, 100% equals 32 hours. And if somebody is already booked that way, that'll give people enough admin time and room to do other things other than project management. So if you're interested in playing with this, have a blast. Know that you can refer back to this document here, and you can look at some other of these options down below where it goes from days to hours and what those things might look like. Have a blast.